Hi, welcome everyone. A couple of minutes. Hi, Anthony. Hi, Jason. Hi, Bethany. Catherine. Who else? Tom. Tom's video's on, but no Tom. And Lisa. Hi, Beth. And Beth Dally. We have Bethany and Beth Dally. Bethany waving. Beth Dally on chat. Welcome, welcome. Okay, so letting people join in here before we officially get started. How's everybody doing? How are we feeling today? Monday. Good. Jason's giving me a thumbs up. We got some minor head nods. Anthony, how are you feeling? Strong? I'm at Parkwood today. So you guys here, I think it's so funny. Can you see the back here? I'm gonna actually wheel my chair for a second. So I'm local in my own area. So Parkwood Estate is in Oshawa, and it was built by McLaughlin, who brought GM to Canada. And obviously we've had a lot of changes and transitions when it comes to that, as we saw the last, I believe, truck come off of the plant a couple of months ago. So that was a big day in Oshawa. But instead of being in Italy or where was I last week? I was in Amalfi, I was in Lake Como in Bellagio one of the days, and then I was in Grand Turk one of the other days. So today we're spring, local to home, a place I love to walk around with the kids. So I saw that, I thought that would be fun. Oh, Catherine is saying my son is CEO. Oh, cool, Pathwise, okay, excellent. Is it Groundhog Day today? Beth Dally said Groundhog Day. Not aware if it is. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Ada. And yeah, I will keep switching it up. So we have 2 more minutes before we officially get started. More people jumping in and joining us today. I don't know about for you guys, but it's a beautiful sunny day outside here. Who has sun shining? Oh, when every day seems the same as Groundhog Day. Yes, this is right. I actually have seen that movie. Usually they make fun of me because I don't know any of the, what is it called, pop culture references or movie jokes or anything like that. But I have seen Groundhog Day. I do know that reference. Okay. Same here. It's sunny. Brett saying it's sunny. Motorcycle is eager. Yes, I'm definitely going to get out for a walk or a run later on today. That is for sure. Probably should be a run. Okay. And we have, we actually have somebody super special that I already said hi to, but just while we let everybody come in here tomorrow, Anthony Brown, who on my screen is up to the right beside me, Anthony. You were like Brady Bunch on my screen. I don't know, like you're right beside me to my left. But Anthony is going to be on tomorrow. And if you have not heard Anthony's story, it is extremely powerful. Anthony went through, I won't give away your storyline, Anthony, but went through just a phenomenal story of overcoming, I mean, odds and in real estate, like just, it will be very difficult to come off of the mastermind tomorrow without feeling like, wow, the things that I thought were hard or were excuses just don't feel that relevant anymore. And that's one of the things I love so much about Anthony's story. So he's going to share that tomorrow. And then I think he's doing a different version of it a shorter version later on in the week, but we're super, super excited. So tomorrow, Anthony will be on with Struck by Life and how to turn things that can seem like, you know, difficulties into something powerful that transforms our lives. So that will be great. And on Wednesday, Victoria, I don't know if she's here yet. I haven't seen her yet, but I think she's on here. She's been on every day. Victoria will be here and we'll be talking about why EQ, and EQ is emotional intelligence. And so why EQ is more important even than IQ in times of crisis, and how we can use EQ to have more empathy and compassion to adapt to what people need, and really to be aware of when people are speaking from a place of fear or stress, so that we can actually get over that into solutions and make sure that they know we care, because people react very differently when they're under fear and stress. So we want to make sure that we know how to adapt ourselves to that. So that will be on Wednesday. On Thursday, we will be talking about the mind-body connection, which I love, because the mind-body connection is our whole way to tap into flow. So if you ever hear me talk, you'll hear me say a lot, no, I don't hustle, I'm getting into flow. I get into a flow state. Hustle is hard, it's pushing, it's working, it's like pushing that big boulder, you know, up a hill. Flow state is effortless. It's a place of abundance. It's gratitude. It's not to say I don't work hard. Anyone who knows me would say I do, but it's from a different place where it renews my energy instead of depletes it. So on Thursday, we're going to be talking about how our brain processes information, how people hear us when we're communicating, and the two core things that can alter how our brain is interpreting and processing information, which is our body, is what we think about or what we do with our body, like getting into movement. So that's going to be a really powerful day on Thursday if you're looking for like how to take kind of what we'll talk about today and get into powerful action. Friday, we are going to take a break. We're going to have a rest and renewal day. For all of you and for our team, we think it's important to honor that time. They've been going more than ever. So we want to honor them having some break, and honor those observing obviously holidays on Friday as well. So we will take a break for that. And next week, the only topic I've already 100% finalized is that I am going to be talking about service versus sales, and how a shift in perspective from a sales mindset or a product mindset to a service mindset, like representation, consulting, you know, our interpretation of a process, our guiding and leading clients in a process, how that's going to be unbelievably invaluable to you right now during this in-between time that we're going to talk about today, but also after. So that's going to be an important one. If you can jump on for that one, I think you'll find it very, very, very valuable, and it'll help you to adapt your client process, because I know a lot of you are working on that. So I wanted to bring that next week. So I think we have lots of people have jumped on and joined us, which is great. And we're going to make sure that you have a pen and paper. If you don't have a notebook and a pen, please take this opportunity to grab one, because today definitely you're going to be writing in chat, and you're going to be writing some things into your notebooks as well, so that we can make this more like a coaching time versus me just kind of talking at you guys. So it's a little bit more interactive, which I think is important. So we're going to do two questions. Actually, we're not. We're going to start with chat. If you can put in where it's Monday, so we're coming off of, for some of us, weekend, depending what your schedule looks like. What did you do over the past 3 days or 2 days, depending how you look at it, for renewal? What did you do to make yourself feel more calm? What did you do to get into a positive state of mind? What was your renewal thing over this weekend? So you can type it in chat and share it with us. That would be great. Oh, and Tammy says it's gorgeous in Milton. Excellent. Awesome. So somebody signed up for virtual meditation. We went walking and bike rides. We're going for walks. Spring cleaning, cooking, started Pilates, biking, guided meditation, walking and working out, baking, boxing. Started seeds for the garden. So many people are now doing veggie gardens this year. I keep seeing that. Extra sleep, boxing, long walks. Awesome. Good. So we're doing something to renew ourselves, and I'm going to tell you why this is so important momentarily. Went canoeing, fishing with my husband. Excellent. I also went for a few really long walks, enjoyed the sunshine, and I made homemade mac and cheese yesterday for the first time since my kids were little, with the bread topping and the whole deal. Comfort food 101. 6 cups of cheese in that sucker. Holy moly. Anyway, I know it's a lot, but it was delicious. So why am I asking this? For 2 reasons, because we always want to start off these calls with something positive, right? To set ourselves to focus on positive, but also because today and Thursday are going to kind of build on each other. We're going to talk about where we are at now, current time. So some of you are going to have heard a little bit of what I'm going to talk about today if you were on the Remax or Century 21 platforms last week, because I was sharing with Integra across their Canadian platform and Century 21 across their Canadian platform as well. But I'm going to be adding some other information for you guys today. So definitely will not be exactly the same. But where we find that place of flow, like where we have optimal performance, it's really important that sometimes people think that we're actually better at multitasking, we're better at, producing or being productive when we're under stress, right? And it's true that tension does create focus. We've talked about that, and we're going to talk about it today as well. But tension creates focus. It gets us to pay attention. It allows our brains to retain more. So that can be really positive. But there's 2 types of tension, right? There's the, again, outside tension, which can be stress that's coming from changes in our environment. And then there is inside tension, which is eustress. Regardless of what's going on in the outside world, we can all set our focus so that we can use the tension around us and essentially, how do I want to say this? Pull it together so that we can create eustress, which means I can be in a difficult time of transition and I can still say, you know what, I've set some goals for myself, or certain things are really important to me. So I'm going to use this atmosphere of tension to get myself to focus on things that are good for me, good for my business, good for my family, good for my community. So distress is when stress is coming out at us from our outside world and it's causing us to panic, right? It's causing anxiety, it's causing worry. Those are not positive types of tension. Eustress is when I'm saying I want something different than what I'm seeing in the outside environment, and I'm willing to take action steps to get there. Why am I bringing this up? Because we all function best right in the middle of being under a lot of stress and being in a place of boredom. So a lot of like hyperachievers or type A personalities, people like that, they feel that the more stress they have and the more they have to do, that they're actually more productive, they're more efficient, all things like this. In fact, it's in the middle. So if we can be at a place even now where our external environment has a lot of tension, has a lot of stress, but we can do things that allow us to relieve that and come back into the middle, we can still be really productive, even with, crisis or difficult things happening around us. So it's easy to fall into that, okay, just put more on my plate, get more and more done. It's literally one of the biggest hacks of all time to be able to control your state of mind. I'm going to say that again. It's literally one of the biggest hacks of all time to be able to control your state of mind. It's so important. So if you're feeling a lot of stress or a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear, that you can do things that'll alter your state of mind. You can put yourself back into a place where you can be logical, where you can be proactive, you can be strategic, and you can make decisions that are really healthy for you, even amongst the most difficult environments. So some people are finding this to be one of the most difficult environments they've ever been in. Other people are like, hey, we've been through lots of things, we're going to come through this. But the key is not what's going on around us. The key first is what's going on inside of us. So today is all about this infamous in-between. And I said it that way on purpose because essentially for some of us, this will be an infamous in-between. And infamous isn't actually positive. Infamous is about, the effects of something out of our control. It's about restrictions, things like that. For some of us, this is going to be a really healthy in-between because we're going to harness what's going on around us and we're going to direct it towards a positive outcome. So this weekend I posted a couple of times just to kind of have that thought process of, there's a lot of this mentality of, hey, how can I possibly, be proactive? How can I possibly pivot? How can I possibly adapt? I don't know where we're going. Those who are, on the front lines with this crisis, they're adapting right now. They're making choices that are going to create a future for all of us. Those of us who are entrepreneurs, who are in sales industries, we're making choices today that are going to carve out and create the future for us. We have an impact on that. So the reality is we can wait and see what the future is going to be, or we can step into an awareness that all of us are collectively creating a future, and some of us individually are creating our future. So we can wait and see what's going to happen, or we can realize it's being prepared and created now. And all of us can step into a place of creation. It's one of the most powerful things that we can do, and it's going to start with our mind. So we're going to talk about that process today. So I'm not 100% going to be like PowerPoint today, because I want to be able to flow with you guys and kind of get into a process that's going to help you and give you guys some tangible ways to deal with this. So I am going to open up PowerPoint just for some pointers that I want to use on here to help guide, because I'm very auditory digital, which we might talk about on Thursday. So I can listen and talk, but some people need more visuals than I typically would naturally provide if I didn't know better. Okay, so infamous in between, peak performers to make the impossible possible. So, I mean, for years, we've been fascinated by people who have said, how can I create something that's not currently in existence? Now, they've done this maybe to win the Olympics or to build a phenomenal business. Right now, we can take that same mentality and we can use it to motivate us during a difficult time of transition. So to think that we can only innovate or aspire for something that isn't here in our world right now during a time of a positive market is really limiting, right? Often during times of crisis or transition is actually when we bring things into reality that we don't have yet. Most of you have probably already heard this, so I'm not going to get into it a lot, but I have a deep fascination, and I have ever since I was really young, with a couple of things. How can I take these visions that come to me in my mind and turn them into reality? How can I help people to morph and be like superhuman? Like, how can people go through times where other people feel, how do you put this, like handcuffed by stress, and these other people would be, you know, at optimal performance? Like, how do we help people see how capable they actually are? You know, we have so much telling us that there's things holding us back, or we can't cope with things, or, you know, that we're weak or we're not able. But the reality is that the human mind and the human spirit is incredibly resilient. It's incredibly capable. We're able actually to recreate ourselves. So I've always had this fascination with, how can I hold up a mirror to help other people see how truly gifted, talented, and capable they are? Because I think growing up, I wished I had a mirror like that. So I started the process to be able to recreate myself and lean into my strengths. And then it ended up to be my entire passion in life. So that's led me to a few things. It's led me to, again, study NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, because that, if said very simply, NLP is the art of studying and modeling excellence. So it's saying if somebody can operate at an excellent level in any certain area of life, we can actually model them. We can learn how they think, how they act, how they dress, how they make decisions. You know, what do they do to call themselves out and get themselves on track? You know, what's that little inner voice talking to them all the time? And I want to argue this for a second. We're all coaching ourselves right now. We're all talking to ourselves right now. And some of us are listening to the voice in our head and we're calling it out and we're course correcting. Some of us are listening to the voice in our head and we're thinking it's real and it's the only voice that's there. Some of us are listening to that voice and like, thank goodness we're on track. But often, initially, as humans, we hear a lot of fear, right? Like, we're like, be safe. We have a lot of fear. There's potentially some ego coming through. So all of us are coaching ourselves right now. And I would challenge you to write this down in your notebook. What am I focusing on? And I work with this with myself. I work with this with people I have the privilege of and honor of supporting. What am I focusing on? Because we've talked about last week that you can only focus on one of two walls. You're either planting seeds or you're hitting ceilings. There's no in between. So what am I focused on right now? Am I focused on planting seeds? Am I focused on things that are going to help me be positive? Because what we focus on expands. And we're going to talk about that on Thursday. That is literally brain science 101. That is how our brains operate. What you believe in is what you will look to see around you. So really important. So I have a psychology degree, master practitioner in NLP, NLP coach, hypnotherapist, timeline therapy, pranic healing, energy mapping, disc trainer's trainer, energetic life map. I'm missing some, and then a degree in psychology. So essentially, I'm just really curious on what tools can help me help other people. That's what I'm really fascinated about. So if you're like, hey, where is she coming from? I have a ton of training to be able to try to bring as many tools as possible to our platform. So some of us, came from a place where we're saying, real estate for some of us was so busy that it was taking over our lives, right? Real estate was making us so successful that sometimes we were late, or we were taking phone calls when friends or family were frustrated, or we were missing important events in our lives. And today is about harnessing this in-between time to potentially create something better. So I heard the wake-up call, I listened to the wake-up call, and I acted on the wake-up call. I heard it, I listened to it, and I acted on it, because the wake-up call is saying what's really important to you. And we're going to talk about this idea of storms and this idea of eustress versus distress, right? I can be in a storm and I can be scared the storm's going to sweep me away, or I can be in a storm and say, how am I going to harness this power, right? We talked about last week, don't waste a good storm, but we're not quite there yet. Remember the time you hustled home to make it for dinner? And now we have this time where we are home, right? We are grounded in being at home right now. So what is the goal of what we're going to talk about today? And some of this we're going to go off chart and some of it will stay on track. But we want to turn a crisis into a powerful pivot. How can we take a crisis and turn it into a powerful pivot? I remember when I got locked out of my past company, because there was just a difference. There's a long story behind that I won't get into right now, but essentially there was a difference of opinion in which direction the company were to go. And I owned half of the company. I was a full decision maker, but when things get difficult, they get difficult. So I got locked out of my own company, fine. And I kept telling myself, even as I had to get resources and I had to hire, a lawyer, and I had to mortgage, take out a line of credit for all the equity on my home to be able to protect myself and protect what I had built in that company. As all of that was going on, I kept saying to myself, December 1st, you will own all of the content, you will have clients come with you, and you will be able to freely start your own new business. As of December 1st, this will be resolved fairly for all. You'll have clients with you, you will own all of your content you're created, and you will be able to start a new company, a new platform. I kept saying it to myself. Some days I said it to myself probably 50 times a day, but I kept doing it again and again and again, because the world wasn't in a crisis, but I was in a crisis. And I had to anchor myself on where I was going. And that wasn't easy. I'm not going to say it was. It took a ton of discipline, but I've also left really difficult relationships where I had to say to myself again and again and again, you wouldn't be calling out for something different if you weren't meant to go to something better for you. I'm in an environment where I'm surrounded by people who respect me. We communicate in a healthy manner. We love each other, and we challenge each other to be our best. So for years, I would read that out to myself every single day, and I'd add on to it, I'm attracting those into my world who are going to challenge me so that I can actually bring my true capabilities to this world. I wanted mentors who were going to help me do that. So I needed to focus. So how do we turn a crisis into a powerful pivot? We're going to have a process for that. Lead with confidence. We want to be able to ground down in your values, right? Who are you? Like mine are challenge, mine are knowledge acquisition. Contribution is a big one for me. Friends and family, freedom. Freedom is a huge value for me. That's very, very important. Also honesty, integrity. Like I have to be able to do what I need to do, but follow a map that keeps me grounded in my values. Why am I bringing this up? Because when we come into times of fear, most people either freeze or they freeze completely. So it's that freeze, flight, or fight, right? But people freeze completely, or they kind of go numb. and they just wait and like, okay, let's see what's going to happen. I'm not sure. If you can ground down into your values and you know where you're going, you can reach up for what you want without knowing exactly how you're going to get there. And that's a lot of what we're going to talk about today. You know, can you hold this vision of something that doesn't exist yet? And can you nurture it with confidence? Can you protect it from the people who are going to criticize it, the people who are going to rip it down? Can you have enough confidence to water a seed planted in the dark that no one else believes is there? That's the key of peak performance. The key is to believe we can bring something into reality that doesn't currently exist. And that requires not just your confidence and your energy and your passion, but it also requires your protection, because there's a large majority of the world who's not going to understand that mindset. So being able to go into a place where we're proactive and we're passionate and we're committed is not a way that the majority of the population is going to respond in a time of crisis. Can we increase efficiency and productivity? Right now, the biggest myth is to cut costs without perspective. Cost is only relative in relation to what you would miss out by cutting that investment. So it's only cutting a cost now if it's not going to cost me later. Now, if I don't have enough to invest right now and I don't have reserves, then yeah, I might need to cut more than somebody who can lean a bit more into risk. But if I can look at all of my financials right now and ask myself, if I cut this today, what is it going to mean for me 3 to 4 months from now? Versus if I cut this today, is fear telling me that I'm going to be safe? Safe on an immediate level is not reality, right? There is no immediate safety. It's that ego, that fear going, cut this and you're going to be okay. Well, am I, 2 months from now, 3 months from now, 4 months from now, am I going to be okay? Or am I going to be taking more of a hit? True cost versus investment is always micro and macro. It's always today in the present, but it's also long-term. Some of you are more comfortable with risk. Some of you are going to use the stress of this time, if you have reserves, to invest further into your business and your market. Some of you will not. That's okay. But all I'm challenging you to look at is efficiency and productivity are able to be increased right now by improving what we choose to keep investing in. So really, really key to have a sense of that. We want to get strategic now to transition strong later. Get strategic now to transition strong later. So we can go into fear, we can get emotional, we can react. We all can do that. We all know how to do that, right? We all have our moments. We can get fear, we can get reactive, we can have, our little voice telling us, okay, protect, protect, protect. Or we can get strategic, we can plan, and we can be as objective as is possible. Full objectivity is not possible, but as objective as is possible. Get your business organized. All of us have that chance right now. And really key, resist the myth of hard stops and fast starts. So a hard stop, and this part of this example actually came from Ron James, so I'm thanking him for this, because he's great at giving like real life scenarios to I see everything as a system and a process. So sometimes the way I see it is just so obvious, and then other people won't know what I'm talking about. So I'm thankful for the direct metaphors. And so Ron was talking about it initially, saying, if I'm going to the gym every day and I stop going for a couple weeks and I show up again, I'm not going to be at that same level of strength. And it's the exact perfect example, because I can go to the gym, for 10 years, 6 times a week, religiously or consistently, and then stop going for 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 6 months, and show back up at the gym. Yes, I'm not going to be as strong physically, but I'm also not going to be as strong mentally. I'm not going to be as locked into my routines or my habits. I'm not going to have that positive momentum to get up and keep going to the gym. There are no hard stops with fast starts. They don't go together. So our goal right now is like, how can we increase efficiency, increase productivity, and keep some momentum so we can come out of this stronger after as a business? And some people remember, like, some people on this webinar have teams. They have multiple people looking to them. They have a ship that they want to keep afloat, because even if some people have to get off that ship, the reality is if they can't keep that ship intact, no one's going to have a ship to come back to after. So they've got really unique considerations happening in this market. And some of these people have spent, you know, years and years and years building the ship to house their crew, and they want to make sure that they have a place to come back to. It's really important. And finally, retain talent and attract those looking for leadership in this hopefully famous in-between, not infamous in-between, depending on your perspective. We know we're going to have some changes. There's going to be some people who are going to leave teams. Some people are going to leave brokerages. This is going to happen. Some people who did not think about going to a team will go to a team. Some people will move teams, right, to another platform. So people who have solutions attract those who are in problem. So if I'm in a problem right now and I'm not getting the resources around me or the direction, I'm going to be attracted to those who have the solution just naturally. It doesn't mean I'm not loyal to where I am. It means if I need direction and I need solutions, I'm naturally going to be like, have a pull towards the people who are focused on those. And I'm going to find more value in environments where I see that I need the solutions they're providing to me. So before we can kind of get, there we go. Before we can get super strong into where we're going, we want to have a little sense of where we're at now. So to have the ultimate staying power and future growth, you need three things. You need a strategy, 100%. You need a strategy right now. So if right now you're doing the day-to-day and you're just getting through that, that's amazing. Like that's something to congratulate yourself. I joked on a post this week and said, I make my bed every single morning because that's my first positive reinforcement of the day, and I need that win, right? It's like, get up, I made the bed, I had a shower, I got, dressed, right? I'm not in pajamas. I let that power me up because why not? The more I power myself up, the more productive I'm going to be with everything else throughout my entire day. So cheer yourself on, celebrate the little wins, right? I posted about Monopoly, but if you guys had saw me, you would have just probably who is this person? Because it's just have fun, right? When you're going into these places. So you want the day-to-day. I'm going to go back to what I was talking about. You want the day-to-day, but big picture, what's guiding you? Because what you believe about this time, if you believe this time is a transition, that you can overcome any difficulty that's in front of you, and that will allow you to be more creative, will allow you to make your business more efficient. If you believe that the solutions you create in your business today will help you later after this transition, those are all big picture things that are going to guide you. So we want a big picture strategy. So again, when I felt totally in the dark and I was, the doors were locked on my prior company, my strategy was very specific. You will come out of this with a fair outcome for all involved. You will have clients come with you. You will own all of your content that you created, and you will be able to actually bill for your work or have a new company by December 1st, 2015. I said it to myself again and again and again and again, because that's the biggest strategy that I could have at that time. My hands were tied. I was in a legal process. I couldn't legally start a new company. I had 2 kids. I needed to pay my bills, and I had 0 income. And to make matters worse, because I was an owner, I sometimes would not, I'd leave it. I wouldn't pay myself for 2 to 3 months, not because the money wasn't there, but because I just wasn't focused on it. It was okay, make sure everybody else is doing well. So I had 2 to 3 months of income sitting in the company. Everything was frozen and locked out. And I had months where now I couldn't bill legally for what I did, because it was against obviously being an owner and coming to a conclusion with that company. So the only strategy I could have was a fair resolution for all, the ability to have all the content I created come with me, the ability for the clients who wanted you to come with me, and open a new company December 1st, 2015. Now, it was not an accident that when we came to our agreement at the end, I sold my 50% of shares. I was paid fairly for the shares. I do own all of the content. Half the clients came to me, and this company, Kathleen Black Coaching Consulting, was founded started legally, founded December 1st, 2015. Why am I bringing up this example? First of all, when we went to do the agreement, obviously the date I recommended was December 1st, because I'd been saying it in my head, anywhere from 10 to 50 times a day. So it drove my outcome. But that strategy allowed me to stay focused on everything I did during that time was to help us come to a resolution, help to propose things that would make it fair, help myself to get enough leverage so I can negotiate and get a fair outcome, because initially I didn't have that, and help my focus be on what I was going to do with the new company. So I started to create everything in the dark before I knew even what would happen, because I had a strategy. So we need to have the strategy first. Second, community. Who's around you? What do they believe in? We're going to talk about this in a minute with risk. It's not just in our DNA, to be entrepreneurs, to take risks, to build a better life. It's in all of us as human beings. We have something called will. And will is going to give you these little ideas that say, what if I did that next? Or this is important to me, or I'm going to stand up for this specific cause, whatever it is. We have this motivation, which is willpower. What's interesting is that who we're surrounded with really influences where we use our willpower and how we use our willpower. So community around us is really important. So to come out of this with staying power and future growth, we need strategy, we need community, and really, really important, we need accountability. I cannot know what's working and what's not, even in this time and transition time with my business, if I don't have some metrics. So I was listening to a big team in the States. I think they do about 14 to 1,500 deals per year. So, they're a strong, big team. And they were talking about their 3 areas of focus. And they were sharing, these are our 3 areas of focus aside from culture and community and support. They'd already talked about that. This was specifically business focused. The first was lead gen. They were increasing their lead gen because cost per lead on social media platforms right now is down. The ability to acquire leads is up. People are on social media platforms more than ever. And our contact rates are almost double for a lot of people tracking right now. So they're going, we have an ability as a team to protect our team because we can invest in and get more leads than we could before for the same money. Our contact rate is up, so we're going to invest there. This is their number 1 strategy, lead gen. Number 2 is training and coaching. Why? Because with training and coaching, we're going to create a focus, just like we're doing with these masterminds. What do we believe about the market? What is our focus right now? Is our energy high? Is our momentum high? And we're going to act on those things. The third thing is going to complete their circle. The third thing is metrics and accountability. So they're saying if we're going to take a risk and we're going to invest more in lead gen right now, we have to make sure we're supporting our people more because there's a lot of turmoil out there. And we don't want them to be distressed. We want them to be motivated, right? Use stress. We want them to lean into the tension. So we need to create new support around that. We need to create new beliefs around that, which will create new focus, which will create new actions, or at least confident actions. They're going to seal the loop with accountability and metrics because we're in a time of crisis. So things are changing. So they want to see the numbers to see what's resonating with the public and what's not. And what's resonating could be a follow-up. It could be a touch base, just of goodwill. It could be an online buyer consultation or listing consultation. Those are all great bullseye outcomes right now. But that's an example of how they're using accountability to lean in a time when a lot of people are pulling back and how they're doing that. So they're not assuming that everyone in their community or on their teams or in their brokerages are going to know what to say or how to say it or how to assess this market. They're creating a combined vision of where they're going together so that when they all see that, they're all going to be motivated to act together and support each other together. So strategy, community, and accountability. Those are the 3 things we need. We need to light a path forward because so many people are frozen in the unknown right now. And not everybody has experience in taking brave action in the dark when they can't see any light of hope. Not everybody has experience in that, but a lot of people on this call do, because I know a lot of the people on this call, and you do. And when you take action in the dark and you show the confidence, you are one of the people who is creating our future right now. Anybody who's taking action, seeing the patterns of what's going on, reading or paying attention to what the market needs right now, you're helping to create that path forward, and you're going to inspire other people to do it, which we're going to talk about it more in a second. So I'm not going to go into this a lot because I've done this with some of you already, but we have 3 markets essentially. We have a bear market, like a sluggish market, right? A buyer's market in our real estate lingo. We have a bull market, which is a strong economy, seller's market typically in real estate world. And then we have a crisis market. The crisis market is the in-between. So it's either the famous in-between, where you listen, where you adapt, where you reposition your message to the public, or it's an infamous in-between, where you don't find a way to have traction, right? We can't get into a routine. We're not having traction. We're trying to bring messages that worked in a bear market or a bull market to a crisis market, and they're not resonating. And we're worried because we're trying to make an old solution work to a new problem. We're trying to make an old solution work with a new problem. And that will create a lot of fear, because the person who's in the famous in-between, they're trying to listen, they're trying to adapt, they're using metrics. So we're going to talk about it in a minute. They're committed to where they're going, but they're not committed to how they're going to get there. They're willing to measure, they're willing to see what's sticking, what people are reacting to, and they're willing to switch it up. They don't need to be right. So for those of you listening or who have seen this before, you can still put it in. But if you want to put in the chat, what do people want in a crisis market? What is of value in a crisis market that people are willing to invest in, that they see value, that they'll pay with their time, money, their attention, their focus? What do people want in a crisis market? Open in the chat so I can see here, I hope. Oh, it might not be letting me see the chat, which is new. Hold on a second. Anthony, because you're right there, I might unmute you and let you see. Oh, no, I can't unmute you.
Kathleen, you can do stability here, cool and collected, be in control, sense of calm, stats, security, forward-thinking leadership, new solutions. These are some of the things that are coming up.
Oh, thank you.
Leadership again.
Thank you. Yeah, it only showed one.
They want consultants, not salespeople. A timeline. How long is it going to last? Calm in the storm.
Yes. Awesome. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So, thank you.
Knowledge.
Knowledge. Okay. So, and all of these are going to come down to, I'm going to do a bottom line organization of it, but they're all going to come, switch my view because I can see. There we go. Essentially, crisis market, they want immediate solutions, right? So we're not looking to invest in something that's going to make our business, potentially better. In a crisis market, people want immediate solutions to immediate problems. They want to be communicated with about immediate problems. In a crisis market for us, if you're in real estate, I know there's people who are not on this call as well, and thank you for you're more than welcome to be here. It's not real estate specific, but those of us who are in real estate, what was I going to say? Current solutions to current problems. I'll wrap back up. Oh, for those of us who are in real estate, whether we're being deemed essential or non-essential, it's also current immediate solutions are also our ability to be able to adapt what used to be potentially for you a product-driven mindset to a consulting representation service mindset, which we'll talk about next week. So I'm not going to dive into that now. But that's what's going to allow you, for example, to say, okay, great, I have this buyer consultation, I'm set, I've got it, but now what do I say to explain the value so that people want to go on a Zoom call and even listen to my buyer consultation, right? So there's a lot of people going, okay, I need to get the buyer consult, or I need to have a listing presentation, I've never had one. They get it, but how do you create a need or a want to listen to a buyer consultation or a listing consultation because it's going to solve an immediate problem for you? That's really important. So you always start at that language, right? Which somebody who's been focused on service is much more likely to have because they were never focusing on just that product, right? It's like somebody who only sells, cassette players, and then cassette players go out of vogue and they're kind of going to have to start from scratch. We evolve with the market. We sell a service, so we can adapt to that right now. So we have bear market, bull market, crisis market is the in-between where people want immediate solutions to immediate problems. Really key to remember, the human psyche is really important in this, right? Even in the strongest bull market, the most confident we're going to see around us in the economy, even then, only 20% of people will invest in doing something to make their lives better, their business better, their family better, just because they aspire to. So I'm going to say it again because I don't want you to hear the words and like lock it and go, that's not true. I'm going to explain it, I promise. Even in the strongest of economies, the strongest of like places in the world, right, where we have so much opportunity for empowerment and growth, first of all, powered up people power up their lives. Powered up people power up their lives. Even in the best places in the world, if we're not empowering ourselves and powering ourselves up, we're not going to reach to improve our lives, because our energy is going to dictate our outcomes. And most people are so tired with their day-to-day life, they don't have enough extra energy and passion and power to reach for something better. But even in the best market, best places in the world, only 20% of the population is going to power themselves enough, power their energy up enough to say, I'm going to take a chance and invest in something because I believe it has a high enough likelihood to make my business better, make my life better, make my marriage better, my parenting relationship better. I'm going to invest in that. Only 20%. And that's in the best markets we have. 80% of people are going to do the opposite. They're away from motivated. So they're going to say, I am going to work with a service. I'm going to buy a product. I'm going to go on a buyer consultation because I believe you are going to protect me. I believe I'm going to have less risk. I believe I'm going to be safe in the process. And I believe that you're going to solve immediate problems for me. So let me say it a different way. 80% of the population in the strongest markets that we have are not going to make any changes to their business, their life, their family, their parenting, their friendships, their health, their physique, physically, any of that, their mindset, any of it. 80% will not make any of those changes until it becomes more painful to keep doing what you're doing now versus investing in a change. So until it becomes so absolutely painful for me to stay in this, marriage that's horrible and stressful, and we're not communicating well, until it becomes so painful it's unbearable, the majority of people will not invest to get help. They'll instead try to hold on to what they have and try to focus on just getting by, right? Their energy is not high enough to invest in resources to make it better. You can look at this and you can say it's depressing, or you can look at it and say, you know what? I'm going to be part of that 20%. I'm not going to wait until things get so painful that I have to make changes. I'm going to make investments in the areas of my life that are important to me. So why am I bringing this up? Because we're in a crisis market. We're not even in the most confident market that's out there. So even more, we've got 80% of people who are more afraid, more wanting to hold on to what they have, more saying, okay, I'm going to wait and see, wait and see, wait and see, wait and see, even for problems that seemed immediate before this. Those problems don't seem that urgent anymore, right? They just don't seem like that big of a deal at this moment. Most problems that people had before this crisis. So 80% of people are going, yeah, I'm just going to wait. I'm not going to make any decisions right now. You're going to have 20% of your people who are motivated in this time to invest more, to make changes, to make their businesses better. 80% are in freeze or they're in wait and see limbo mode. What does that mean for you as a business owner, business person, salesperson, whatever it is that you do? It means that your most viable place to bring value right now is in solving immediate problems that are specific to this crisis, accommodating your language and your messaging to yourself and to the world around this crisis. Because here's the beautiful thing. If you can change your language to yourself during this time, you will naturally put yourself in a position to more likely be in that 20% where you're saying, hey, I can solve immediate problems now. And you know what? I can see that they might make my life better as well. If you can do that, you're also going to be able to power yourself up to listen to the market and change the way you're speaking to it. We don't need to change that we're in real estate. We need to change how we communicate right now, which is really, really important. So this in-between place is a very specific market. Not a buyer's market, it's not a seller's market, it's an in-between market that gives us a huge chance to power ourselves up and motivate ourselves. I'm only going to read this list because Shannon's already covered some of this before, and I want to move on to some of the stuff that I really want to work with you guys on today as well as I watch my timing. So immediate problems, if you haven't heard this from us and you need some webinars that you've missed, please reach out or put it in the chat. We're more than happy to help. But who do we want to be connected with? Every single day, I want to be connected with those I love, Those I lead, whether it's active clients, whether it's a team, whether it's a brokerage, right? Whether it's, follow-ups or people who are requesting my information online, or they're calling me right now. Those are all people you're leading, right? Just to put it in perspective. So those I love, those I lead, and those in need. Who can I help right now? Who can I reach out to? Who can I support right now, right? And those people might mesh. Obviously, right? Some of the people who might need you today are people you love. Some of the people who might need me today are people that I lead. I need to be in tune with that. We're going to talk to firm clients waiting to close. If you've missed our conversations about that, ask for some recordings. Active must sell, buy now. Active must sell and buy now clients. Remote client experience. Those are immediate problems we need to solve. So again, instead of saying, okay, I'm just on shutdown mode, I'm only working with essential people, I'm an agent, but I'm not going to pick up my phone, even though I have an active listing and somebody has a question about it, that doesn't make a lot of sense. We're not going to help the economy come out of this stronger by completely shutting everything down when we can work remotely and respect the health and safety needed by our community, our families, ourselves. We can 100% do that. It'll allow us to come out stronger afterwards, and allow us to support the people who need us. The more you power yourself up, the more confident you're going to be, the more abundant you're going to be, and you're going to be more open to giving and helping other people. If I can't put myself in a position where I feel abundant and strong and confident and powerful, I'm not going to be confident enough to help people right now, because what do you do when you're scared? What do we do when we're scared? What is 80% of everybody doing? They're going, okay, I'm going to hold on to what I have. I'm going to go buy all this friggin' toilet paper, right? I'm going to do all these things because I've got this little voice on my shoulder going, you're not going to be okay, right? You have to give yourself that extra security. So what do we need to do? Get into that planning, logical mindset of what do I actually have? What do I actually need? And what can I give so I can get in a place of abundance? So remote client experience, please, if I could give any advice, if you're stuck on that, one of my top principles in business, and I'm going to preface it a little bit, but in real estate specifically with clients, I don't remember a single time I ever said no to a client. And I know you're hearing this and going, what do you mean? I don't remember a single time I ever said no to a client, because I was already ahead of them to give them options. So it was never, no, I'm not available Saturday at 5. It was, okay, you know what? I know we're going to need to go out on showings again. I want to pre-book you guys. I know evenings are better. I am booked a couple of times, but I did look at, I have Saturday at 4 o'clock, or I have Sunday at 7. Or they're saying, Kathleen, I want to go out and see this property, and I want to go in and see it in person. And instead of saying no, I can say to them, you know what, excellent. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get in touch with the listing agent. I'm going to book us a time on Zoom. Would tomorrow at 8 work? I know you prefer to talk after the kids are in bed. Is 8 p.m. tomorrow okay for us to connect? Excellent. I'm going to get some resources for us to go over together about this property. If you're still interested in those, I'm going to start contacting the listing agent today. Some of the agents have been a little bit slow with communication. We're having different messages from our brokers, things like that. So I'm going to start to try to contact them today. And my hope is that when we go over the listing tomorrow, the floor plans, the virtual staging, all of the resources available, that if you're interested, I can have a video from the listing agent, even if the seller recorded it. That's going to be a lot more similar to an actual showing, and maybe additional pictures of things like the closets and the cupboards, and even any potential issues that might need a remedy for the property. I'm going to ask them if they can be really upfront with us. So let's do that. Are you okay if I book you tomorrow at 8? Excellent. We'll connect no matter what. If I cannot get more information from the listing agent, then we'll come up with our strategy from there. Done. I'm not saying no. I'm saying which one, right? I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. So the key right now is not to stop your sales process. The key is to modify it virtually, and instead of saying no, offer solutions. That's unbelievably powerful right now. So we want to keep the flow of energy and momentum going in our business. New leads, follow-up leads, center of influence, sphere of influence, people who are in our new remote experience. Those are all immediate problems that those of us in real estate or sales, any type of small business right now likely is going to be dealing with. We want to accommodate our communication to them based on our connection with them. So Shannon Smith last week did a phenomenal full webinar just on those buckets and how to adapt our language to them. So if you need that, please reach out. content strategy, and communication connection. These are all things that we need immediate solutions for right now. So we all have the choice, right, to go into today and to say, oh my gosh, you know, it's going to be heavy and it's going to be hard, and I'm going to talk to people who are scared and frustrated, and you certainly may, right? And I'm going to talk to people who are in those situations to say, what can we do to make it easier to flow through this and look towards an ideal outcome? And you might want to write this quote down. I wish I knew who originally said it. I don't, but I have used it for years and I love it. So hope in the future creates power in the present. Hope in the future, and if you know who said it, please tell me, I'd love to know. Hope in the future creates power in the present. So you want to ask yourself, you know, if you're feeling like you're kind of not powered up to do what you need to do, what are you looking towards in the future? If it's optimal or it's exciting or you know it matters, right? Worthwhile work. If you know the work you're doing right now matters, it's going to give you hope that in the future, positive things are coming because you did what you needed to do today. You were able to continue to, again, be in the dark and act as if you knew a positive outcome was coming. That's faith, right? To be able to act positively now as if you knew a positive outcome was coming. The most beautiful thing is it's also the most important thing you can do to impact and create a positive outcome. And that's what all peak performers are going to do. They're acting based on an optimal outcome that they are creating in their mind, and their choices, their thoughts, their actions every single day are getting them as close as possible to that outcome. And when they hit hurdles, all they're focused on is how do I adapt and adjust to get back online for my outcome. That gives them a huge power in a world that can just inundate us with so many ideas, so many strategies, so many products. If we're so focused on where we're going and how we're doing it, how is the ground down, where is the reach up, it's going to give us the ability to impact our futures, our outcome. So community and connection. So what can we do to power ourselves up right now? Focus on your ability to adapt. Focus only on what you can do. A client last week said, what was your quote? You said, I need to be around I-canners. I can't afford to be around people who are I-canters right now. I said, that sounds like my version of English for sure. So I need to be around people who are I-can-ers, I-can mindset, and I need to make sure I am in an I-can mindset. So I can create a positive impact. I can do hard work that leads to promising outcomes. I can, you know, believe that there's a purpose in why I'm going through what I'm going through now. So when you go through these times where you're like, you know, how can I lose my marriage, my house, my investment properties, and a few years later lose a relationship, my best friends, my company, you know, everything that gave me purpose in life. I had to have faith that something in the future needed me to learn how to be stronger. And that gave me a lot of solace. You know, something in the future needs you, and you need to learn how to be stronger now, because that's going to allow you to help people later. And just that gave me an optimal outcome. It's like, it's not for nothing. It's never for nothing. If we can't be polished or sanded, how are we ever going to, if we can't take criticism or sanding, how will we ever become polished? Which is not my quote, but I'll find it for you guys another time. So the key here, why do we want to be adaptable? I think it's Waldo Emerson, I think. But anyways, I'll add it after, so I give proper credit here. But nature abhors a vacuum. So if we try to hold on to everything we have and keep the world the way it is, we stop new life, new energy, new growth from coming into us. So I'm going to pause just for a second, because I want all of you to have out your notebooks, because there's something that I want you to focus on that we can do on a day-to-day to get ourselves into that peak performance mindset. So number one, the first thing is I create my reality. And I'm going to explain this. So these are the three things. I'm going to say the three things, and then we're going to talk about them. So number one, I create my reality. And for some of you hearing me say that, it's going to initially be very like-minded for you. You'll be attracted to that mindset. Others will hear that and go, well, like, I don't create a reality where I can't see my friends and family right now. You know, I don't create a reality where we have a virus hurting people, where people are losing their lives, where people are losing their businesses and their incomes. You know, I don't create that reality. And you would be right, but you would create your experience in the reality, which is your reality. So we're going to come back to this. So I create my reality. So what is it that I'm looking to have? What is it that I'm looking to do? So my work, number one, is to create my vision of reality. Number one, I create my vision of reality. Number two, I create my everyday joy. So number one, I create my version of reality. Number two, I create my everyday joy. And number three, I allow flow. I allow flow. So number one is about creation. Number two is about joy. And number three is about flow. So why these three things? If I can start my day with a vision of the feelings, the importance, the work that I want to do, if I can start my day in creation, then when I go into my day, I can choose to be joyful, doing everything I can possibly do towards building that positive creation. So if I start my day with creation, like today in the morning, I envisioned how this call would go. I envisioned what type of flow I wanted on the call, you know, that I wanted to be a little more relaxed so I could connect with you guys. I envisioned that I wanted to be a little bit more coaching style, a bit, as much as I could with this many people. So I envisioned that side of it. I envisioned connecting with our coaching team this morning and being able for them to feel that I was caring about them and wanted to know how they were and their families. So I envisioned how I wanted to show up today and what would have the most positive impact. So number one, creation. You're going to create what you want your day to look like, because if you don't create what you want your day to look like, you are losing that formula. For those of you who didn't hear it the other day, E plus R equals O. And we've had other speakers talk about it too, just to keep layering it, right? E plus R equals O. I have an event and I have a response or a reaction and I have an outcome. I cannot respond unless I know my outcome. My outcome starts at the beginning of my day. It's my creation. I'm creating the way the day is going to flow. I'm creating how I want my life to look. I'm creating the things I'm going to look for. And on Thursday, we're going to talk about that this creation piece sets your brain. So your brain is sifting and sorting information all day long. So I'm not going to go on a side track here because Thursday is going to be all about this. So please, if you're interested in like powering up your brain, come and join us on Thursday. But essentially going into that place of creation is setting a focus for my brain to look for certain things and create certain things. And it allows me to get into number two, which is joy. Because if I know I'm doing absolutely everything I can to respond towards creating a positive outcome, which serves not just me, but it serves everyone. So the highest level of service for everyone involved, the highest, most fair outcomes for everyone involved, a place where I can, you know, provide the most amount of value, other people can feel that value or vice versa. If I already know I'm doing absolutely everything I can to create that outcome, I naturally can relax, right? I can put down the weight of, oh my gosh, I have to call 50 past clients today. Because instead, I can say, this is amazing. I get to call 50 past clients today. I want people to feel that I care. I want people to know that I'm trying to create positive outcomes. I want people to know that I serve from a place of love. Thank goodness I get to connect with these people today. I don't want to get stuck in that mindset of making the things that actually build my best life become heavy when they're supposed to be light. So I'm going to create for the day. And then as I go into my day, because I know I'm doing everything I can to create my positive outcome, my positive creation, I'm going to choose to be joyous, because joyous is the closest thing I can do to effortless results. And remember, where did I say you were optimally productive, efficient, your brain worked the best? Right in the middle of stressed and bored. You have to be right in the middle. That's where the flow state lives. And the flow state is always where you feel joyous, because you're not stressed. It's never heavy, right? It's that effortless success. Effortless success doesn't mean you don't work hard. I work really hard, but I work really hard at doing what I love and reminding myself that I love it and staying in joy. So the second thing is joy. The third thing is flow, right? Which is allowing. So the third thing is to say that when something comes up in my day and it's not going the way I thought it was going to go, if I remember my outcome, I'm just going to respond. I'm not going to get upset. I'm not going to let it get me down. I'm going to remind myself that if I know where I'm going and I'm doing everything I can on a daily basis to proactively get there and to serve in my best of my ability, then I can be in a place of allowing and flow. And if you haven't read the book and you're having trouble with allowing or flow, Michael Singer's book, Surrender, is absolutely phenomenal. So Michael Singer's book, Surrender, he also wrote Untethered Soul, but I never got into that book. I've tried to read it a bunch of times and I don't know what the deal is, but anyway, I'll keep going. Eventually it'll resonate. But his book, Surrender, is all about knowing what he wanted to achieve, knowing who he wanted to be, what values he wanted to work with, and having the confidence and faith to kind of just keep having, he had an expectation that the world would be positive and good. And he allowed himself to say, if I did everything that I could in a difficult situation, the world will present the best possible outcomes to me. So instead of fighting it or getting stressed about it, he just allowed it. It's like, I can't fight with the fact that there's a pandemic right now. I can't change that. I can't fight with the fact that, we have some clients who are in really difficult situations and they need our help right now. I can't change the fact that some people are scared, even though people around them need their leadership, they need to process things. I need to allow that, right? So I need to allow what's happening because that means I'm not going to fight it. So what you resist persists, which means the more I fight something, the bigger it's going to get because I'm going to keep fighting it, and it's going to keep escalating until eventually I go, it is what it is. We're in a time of crisis. We're in a pandemic. It is what it is. If I lose my business, I'll rebuild it. If I lose my house, I have family, thank goodness, that I could stay with, or I trust myself that when this transitions, I will be able to rebuild and get those things back, right? In my case, just because I believe in these so deeply, if we were, I hope, if somebody were to get ill, if somebody were to pass, I have a belief that end of the day, there is something beautiful or positive that can even come from that, even from the most difficult, painful experiences. I believe I can choose to grow and learn and grieve and be better because of knowing that person and honoring that person. So if we can go from that place, and I know that last one might be a hard one, I appreciate that. If we can go from that place, we can be in a place where we can adapt very easily. We can flow through life without making it so heavy on ourselves. Imagine, like, the biggest thing that we do is to fight to be in congruence with who we think other people think we are. So I'm going to try to say that more simply. The biggest thing as humans we do is we try to put so much energy into being who we think other people think we are. And it locks us in. It keeps us in that 80%. It's like, but this is who I am. I'm a top real estate agent. I have a top team, or, the money I make is part of my identity. The success I do is part of my identity. People choosing to work with me is part of my identity. What if, even if it all went away, you were okay? You were still good enough. You were better than good enough. And all of those skills were still inside you. So you said, you know what? Even if the world took it all away and I couldn't see any of it right now, and I had to be in the dark and envision something better, what's inside of me would come out again because I'd naturally act, do, and be who I am. So at the end of the day, I don't need to hold on to all of these things because they're part of my identity, because my identity is what's inside of me, right? And the world will recreate it. So when I left that business, I was so scared because I had these big, beautiful visions for the business. And I was so upset that I wouldn't be able to bring them to fruition. And I went and started a new business. And what did I find out? That vision of the business was in my head, right? That love and momentum and passion for the business and for our clients, that all lived inside of me. So I was able to shift, and the world just rebuilt it with me because I was focused on that optimal outcome. So number one, we start our day in creation. Number two, we hold ourselves to doing what we know needs to be done to bring that creation into fruition with joy. Your job is to constantly go back to joy. Number one is creation, so you have an outcome. I can't respond without an outcome. Number two is joy, because I can't be in flow state, I can't be efficient, I can't be productive if I'm not in a place of joy, a place of gratitude. And number three is now I'm in flow. I'm just going to allow it. I'm going to have faith that I'll do the best I can. And when I say faith, I honor if anyone is religious, you might hear it that way. If you are spiritual, if you study the world of energetics and frequency, you'll all hear it differently. And I mean, they're all the same thing for me. Faith is an ability to bring something into fruition that right now is unseen and power it up with your energy and your belief of your capability. Okay, so creation, joy, flow. Creation, joy, flow. Some of you are going to start this with creation after this call, because you're going to go back into, where am I trying to go? What am I trying to create? Some of you know what you're trying to create, but you're making it really hard on yourselves right now. You're making it heavy and you're building it up of, oh my gosh, this is going to be a hard conversation. Or how is this going to go? Instead of, you know what, I expect everything's going to go as best as it possibly can. And I'm going to do my best possible work. And I'm not going to live through a stressful situation twice because I try to live through it before it even happens mentally and my body responds to it, which is super difficult. So we want to focus on what we have the ability to adapt. We want to focus only on what we can do. So you might want to write an affirmation for yourself, which is part of your creation, on exactly where you're going. And if you're like me, you might need to say it many, many times a day. You might need to put it up on your bathroom mirror. You might need to post it, in your bedroom. And it can be either an affirmation or it can be questions. For me, my affirmations are just like values that guide me. But you can ask yourself questions that are going to cause you to focus right away. Whatever is going to work for you, can do that. Focus only on the can-do attitude. Focus on where you are going and build a raft. So three types of people right now, right? One, they are so focused on their creation that every little piece of goodwill and positivity is another branch, piece of wood, piece of rope, piece of string for their raft. All they're doing right now is saying, I see where I'm going. I just need to build a raft to get there. I'm adapting, I'm in flow. You have people in the middle who again are bobbing and they're like, I'm just going to wait and see. How can I do anything? I don't know what the future holds. The person on the raft is like, I know what the future holds because I'm creating it. So they've powered themselves up to act and build the raft to get where they know they're eventually going to be going because they have faith in that. They can see what is unseen to other people. The person bobbing, again, is just passive. I'm going to wait and see. Hopefully I wash up on shore. Hopefully something positive happens. Hopefully my business is the same or a little bit down. But what they don't know is their non-action is already putting them backwards because the people on the raft, they're building a raft and they trust that there's somewhere they're going to go to positively from that before they even see that new land show up into existence, right? The other person is frozen. They're already underwater. They're not being proactive right now. The more you try to build a raft, the more you motivate other people to do the same and to take action. So you're not just helping yourself, you're helping other people around you. And I already talked about what you cut in cost today is only relative compared to what it would make you later. I don't know if Anthony's still on here because I can't see it right now, but Anthony Brown, oh he is, hi. I was on Anthony's videos that he's doing to help during transition. So he's got a group for that. If you guys want to jump into those, connect with Anthony Brown. That he was talking about being very transparent and saying, I like to control things. And a lot of top producers like to control things. They also a lot of times beat themselves up for it because they're like, oh my gosh, I'm such a control freak and it's causing problems at home. It's like, you might be a control freak, but it's also probably one of the key reasons why you're successful in business. Because people who are control freaks like to have predictable outcomes. So they can look at environments and say, what can I put in place so I have control over the outcome, so I have more confidence to power it up and invest in it, right? So really key during this time, what I said to Anthony is that because you're going to look for new ways to control your environment, you'll actually make things more productive and efficient. Even though there's a negative, there's always a positive to every single coin. And control can be one of those, right? A lot of us have our gifts because of positive influence and control, for sure. So attention creates focus, using the power that comes from pain when properly harnessed. And I think I read this quote on one of our other webinars that somebody sent this to me. And I said, oh, it's a great quote. And they said, Kathleen, it's from your book. I didn't know that I'd spent a great part of the last year writing a book that was all about weathering a storm and standing up in a storm and becoming stronger and allowing it to motivate you to do what you need to do to build a better life. And that's what all of us need right now. A peak performer is trying to defy the odds. They're trying to create what isn't in reality right now for other people to see. That's what all peak performers do. How do they do it? Creating it in their mind, keeping themselves joyous and focused, and allowing themselves to be adaptable so that they don't get out of the game from being exhausted. They keep it light and they keep focused on where they're going. If you guys don't have it, there's a link there. You can have a digital copy of the book completely for free. There's no catch with it or anything. You can just get it before it goes to bookstores. So if you guys want that, it's top1%life.com. Let me know what you think. The first official chapter is called In the Eye of the Storm. So it's pretty relevant for what some of us are going through right now. Some of you will relate to it quite a bit. So here's the question that I want. Oh, I'm going to go back. I'm just trying to move this so I can see all of you for a second. And Lucy, I'm going to need your help just in 1 second. What do you need to do now to look back on this time with gratitude, knowing you heard the wake-up call, you listened to the wake-up call, and you acted on the wake-up call, which improved your life? What do you need to do now to look back on this time with gratitude, knowing you used the wake-up call, you heard it, you acted on it, and in order to improve your life? And if you can put it in chat, whatever comes to mind, just whatever pops up. And for some of you, you're going to do your work creating your creation and your joy and your flow, allowing later on. I'd recommend that you actually write something out for all of those so you can anchor to it. So Lucy, I don't know if any are coming up in chat. If you could share them with me if you're there. Let me see if Lucy is still there. She might have jumped off on a call.
Kathleen, I'm here. So it says create a new business plan, stay in constant communication.
Mm-hmm. And Sandra, it finally popped up and then it went away. I usually can see it on the screen. It's just not letting me today.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask it one more time. What do you need to do now to look back on this time with gratitude, knowing that you use this wake-up call to make improvements in your life?
Schedule time aside to make an action plan.
Yeah.
Do the exercise for create joy and flow.
Mm-hmm.
A chance to reconnect with clients. Rest my life. Brush up my skills and take up a digital marketing course. Become more confident now in areas that intimidate me. Example, computer platforms.
Mm-hmm.
Connect with family and clients.
Okay.
Kathleen, what would you say to someone who is trying to justify an admin support salary to their team versus cutting expenses and doing the work ourselves?
Well, I think that there's a couple, each team is going to be unique. I think it depends on projects that need to be done that maybe are delayed. It depends on your ability to be more efficient because that admin is working on those projects now. So when you come out of the gate after, you'll be more efficient, which means you'll have more seeds planted and you'll have more turnaround after. The other thing is, like, if you have a strong team and you have powerful people who are helping you to be efficient, maintaining those people are important. There's part of culture and communication. So I think the job of the team leader is to lead the team, right? Like, and I know that sounds obvious, but I mean, I think the idea is that, you know, if we already have a ship, we need to align a crew, and a ship needs a leader. It needs a captain, right? Who's going to align and going to see the big picture and the strategy. And your perspective of your business is going to be really different as a team leader than somebody who is on the team. And they're all valuable, but your job is to see the strategy. So for example, if your goal is to do, is to be like a certain level of service, a certain level of mastery, and eventually a certain level of production again as a team, then I think if you know that that's your outcome, that you're going towards, that's your creation, you're going to have really different questions, because for a team member, they might be looking at it as in today, cut all costs for today. Whereas as a team leader, you're looking at, you know, the next 5 years. Those are really different viewpoints. So what I'm trying, there was something I was just going to say with that. So strategically, you want to be making sure that you're doing everything you can to get towards your still 2-year, 5-year, but you have enough reserves to get you through this time. So how can you actually optimize what you can do during this market to make you guys stronger, minus, you know, any blind spots or any interruptions, right? That's what goals always are. You know, there are actions minus interruptions. So the more we can plan for interruptions up front, the more we can keep our momentum going, which is also kind of like allowing, right? Or flow. And so the more I can kind of be open or minimize interruptions or minimize frustrations, the more my momentum goes straight and I'm a lot more efficient. I have people on my team where if we did not have those people on the other side of this, we would be significantly less efficient for a long period of time. They would not be easily rehired. They would not be easily retrained as another person. So I would, at this point in time, be making a very reactive emotional decision on my team, doing anything to alter some of my key leadership people. It would hurt not just them, it would hurt our entire business. Now, 2 months from now, if we're in a different situation, we might have to make some hard choices. And for those of you in Canada on this, definitely watch for your opportunities about relief, because of course we're waiting to understand, you know, the cash versus accrual basis calculations, because obviously we firm up deals at a different time than we get paid. But if you are able to apply for the relief or argue that case, that 75% credit is phenomenal. And as business owners, if you have a business account, you can apply for the $40,000 loan in Canada as well. And if you pay it back by December 31st, I think it's 2022, you have to have used the money by this year in December. But if you pay it back by December 2022, you have a $10,000 forgiveness, which is 25% forgiveness. Mm-hmm. And that loan is designed to be paying that 25% if you qualify for the relief, right? So it's just some things to think about for overall strategy. So I hope I answered that question. I'm not sure. But not everybody's in that position, right? Where they have reserves or they can lean into risk right now. It's unique for everybody for sure. So the key is I'm asking you all these types of questions because I'm trying to give you that, again, that biggest hack that we can have, which is having an outcome that we know we're trying to get to. It's in our business the same reason we say, hey, if we had 1,000 times the clients we have now, would this solution work? It's a hack to prepare us to be able to be world-class, right? That's what it's designed to do. It's just designed to make us look big picture instead of in today, which is what all top performers, it's what all leaders do in a crisis. They're always looking to take an anchor, throw it out into the future, and continue to act with as much ease as possible to course correct. Because the more energy I have to give to an obstacle or a difficult conversation, the more it's going to throw me off course. Whereas if I can know I'm doing my best and flow through things and be adaptable, I can bring a lot more of my warmth and I can give more to the people around me, which is important for sure. So bullseye, you have no power without values guiding you towards a target. That's where knowing where we want to go. That's going back into that creation piece. And as a reminder, we can respond, right? Which is where we want to get to. And you'll hear me keep talking about this because I think it's just as much for me as all of you. We need to be at a place where we're planting seeds and we're responding. And so there was a quote that I thought was really good. And it said, you know, remember, sometimes sometimes other people's ceilings are your floors. And that's important to remember that, you know, where your mind is at now, what you're reaching for, what you're creating is going to dictate your choices and your perspective. So for us, I mean, our whole focus is on global, right? So we've made very different choices that have allowed us to lean in because I know what we're going towards. Everything in our mentality is global. So we'll make those choices. Whereas if you're reacting and you don't have a lot of resources or you're hitting ceilings, you're again blaming, complaining, justifying, feeling sorry for yourself, you know, you're frustrated with what the world's doing to you right now. And I know sometimes we all need to spend time in that place. I totally respect that. Some things are just so painful that they require us to mourn their loss. And that's not just people, that's circumstances, that's changes in times, you know, changes in abilities. But the reality is at some point, we have to take responsibility and transition back to being reactive, because we only can create good things from a responsive. We can only create good things from a responsive place. Only when I'm trying to go towards a positive outcome do I have the biggest hack I can ever have, because that's state management, right? State management is saying, I know a positive outcome, I know who I am, I know what I believe in, I know how I want to serve. So I'm going to make sure I do everything I can to adapt myself so I can respond to the world in a positive way. That's the biggest hack any of us can have right now in trying to create positive outcomes in the future. So energy flows where focus goes. I'm going to end the call and open up for some questions from this place. That again, like the ultimate ability of leaders during a time of crisis or during a strong market is to have that ability to nurture something before you can see the indicators that it's going to come to fruition. So, I mean, if you want to nurture the best real estate team that ever was, you're going to want to make sure you minimize your blind spots, you minimize your interruptions, and you focus everything on what existing top real estate teams have. If you want to be somebody who leads and is confident and strong in a crisis, you're going to model how can I focus on and act in a way that shows faith that we're going to come out of this, that good things are going to happen, that I'm willing to contribute my energy, my actions, my time, my money in creating the future, instead of waiting to see what's going to happen and feeling like there's a ceiling cast over me or there's a net cast over me. We all have that choice right now. And being in a place of denial or being in a place of the world's going to stop. I remember losing somebody and going back to visit my high school, and the English teacher said to me she had lost her father quite young as well. And she said to me, you know, what broke my heart the most was that something that in my life was so awful, like so horrific, so overwhelming, and time didn't stop. Because, you know, like I couldn't understand how the world didn't just pause for a couple of moments. But the reality is that it doesn't, right? Time keeps moving forward, and we can adapt to it and make changes towards those positive outcomes, or we can get stuck in it. I think that's for all of us to decide. So if you need time and you're still struggling with adapting, totally okay. But being in a place where we're judging other people, we're not taking actions, we're not creating positive outcomes, nothing good comes from those places for us. So this is the key of the infamous in-between. It's being able to take it by the reins, take our brains by the reins and say, hey, this is what I'm going towards and this is what I'm going to focus on. And if I'm hitting a hard part of my day, I'm going to say, okay, I can have a couple minutes where it's hard, and then I'm going to refocus on where I'm going again and again and again. And people around you will not understand it. They'll go, how are you at? You'll never be able to create that, or it's too much of a risk. You're not going to be able to do it. People around you don't understand how you take action to build something that's not in creation. The majority of people don't understand that, but it's what all great leaders do. So I'm just going to check, Sandra, if there's any questions that have popped up, because I'm going to challenge you guys as an action item to spend some time on those 3 steps. Creation, which can be visualization, it can be journaling, it can be a letter from the future, it can be, you know, every morning envisioning your day. Number 2, it can be choosing joy. I'm going to choose not to make things heavy. I'm going to choose to expect the best possible outcomes. I'm going to set my brain and envision everything's going to go well, but I'm also going to prepare and make sure that I'm prepared with the tools and skills I need. And finally, I'm going to be in a place of allowing. I can say what I want. I don't get to say how I get there. I can say what I want. I don't get to say how I get there. Sometimes the world gives us something 10 times better than what we asked for, and we don't see it until later, right? Looking back. Sandra, any questions popping up? I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Not yet. It asks, where can I get this video for review? And I think we plan on sending this to all our clients or everyone on the call.
Yep, everybody's registered for the calls. Stacy has been consistently sending them out. Sometimes she'll send them every 2 days just because we know you guys are getting a lot of emails. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the week, both weeks, this is week 3. At the end of the week, both weeks, we've sent an email with all of the videos.
Are you making his full on 5 course
Oh, I'm trying to mute somebody and it's, oh, I'm not the host. That's why it's
Maybe.
not letting me. It let you, Sandra? Thanks. Yeah, so we'll send out the video to everybody who's on here. Questions, thoughts? If you're watching this and you're willing to take some time to focus on your creation part, your joy part, and your allowing part, maybe just put yes in the chat, and you have your own personal commitment, and then we can circle back on Thursday about that a little bit.
Kathleen, how do they get your book again? What was the website?
It's actually I'll go to the, oh, it might be further down.
Was it 1%life.com?
Yeah, you know what? I'll show you guys so again, risk is, you know, it's DNA, but it's also who we surround ourselves with. So another parting thought is just to surround yourself with people who are forward-minded and who are really often successful in business or focused on, you know, community work, whatever it is you're trying to be successful on, really surround yourself with those people. But, you know, we have all these quotes, right? Of all boats rise with hold on, I'm trying to read it and I'm going to screw it up. A rising tide lifts all boats. Safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are made of. I mean, I said we've had these quotes for, you know, years, right? We post them on our Facebook every day. We read these quotes every day. And then we come into a time of crisis and everybody's throwing the rope over and trying to tie it as tight as possible to the dock. And, you know, when the tides rise, when you're tied that close and you're not adapting and you're not listening to what the market needs right now, you're not able to rise with that tide. So all boats rise in the tide except the ones tied too tightly to the shore. And some of us, yes, we need to be tied off right now, but we don't need to be tied off that much that we can't see when to rise or how to adapt. So that's something that's you know, important to keep in mind. Change before you have to. Make the changes now before the world is going to make it so painful that you have to make those changes. It's going to be a lot easier to resist.
Uh-oh. I think she froze. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think Kathleen's gone.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe the freeze is just temporary.
While we wait for Kathleen to come back on, I can tell you guys quickly. So tomorrow when I'm doing my presentation, I know there's a lot of people on here that have heard me speak before. I've tweaked it a little bit. So there's a little bit about prospering in a pandemic situation that I've tied into my keynote that I'm doing tomorrow. So even if you've heard me before, if you think you've heard everything I have to say, definitely still check it out. I think I'm going to be able to add some new valuable information for you guys.
Thank you, Anthony.
No problem.
Dexter.
You know, it's 2:30. I don't know if Kathleen's going to be able to get back on.
Oh, we maxed out.
So maybe we'll just wrap up this call. And I know we have another one tomorrow at 1 o'clock.
We'll see you then.
Yeah, see everyone then.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye guys.
Bye.
Bye, Anthony. Bye, Sandra.
Bye.
Thanks. It was good. It was a good session today.
Thanks. Where do we sign up for tomorrow, Sherry? However you got the link for today, is how you'd sign up for tomorrow. It's going to be the same passcode that you used today to get into the next one. Perfect. Thanks, Shannon. Shannon just has the same link as today. Are there any other questions that we can answer? You got me, you got Shannon on Zoom chat.
Can you hear me, Sandra?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Excellent. It totally kicked me out.
That's what we
I don't know
figured.
why. And it's a new format now, but the book is, and I was trying to scroll down to show you guys. I can't believe it's still sharing screen because it's not allowing me to use it at all.
Yeah.
But the book is top. I'm just going to end the show because it's not allowing me to do this properly right now. I will type it in the chat for everybody.
Okay, awesome.
Sorry about that. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. We wrapped it up. So that's why now you see a lot less participants now. There's only 27 of us.
Okay. There we go. We'll send it out in the email. That's weird. Sorry about that. But say la vie, it was time anyway. So on that note, if you're still here, we wish you well. And thank you, Sandra and Shannon, for helping with that. We'll see everybody tomorrow.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.